But the fact is that now, Tom, it looks like, and this is what's really terrifying, is that not only is the Doomsday movie going to get delayed as we all thought it would, but that there's now going to be, if we believe that Avengers Doomsday actually hits its new mark and comes out Christmas of 26, which would be unprecedented for any Marvel movie to come out on the Christmas frame. Because that means Disney is going to have to remove from the release schedule a Disney animated feature, which has almost always come out during the Christmas frame.
Renegade Online.
Okay, but we got a delay, right? We have a delay for the release of Doomsday. This is a movie, Tom, that's probably going to cost, if Infinity War and Endgame cost near $650 million a piece before marketing. This is going to be more. So this has been pushed back 6 months. We were kind of touching on this a moment ago. And I guess we'll go back. Do you think this is actually going to make it out for Christmas of 26 now that it's been moved from May of 26? Because you and I both were in agreement that there was no way when they announced Avengers Doomsday. I mean, they even just reconfirmed it like 2 months ago. May of 26, this movie's coming out. And they just started filming this movie not 3 weeks ago. Literally just started principal photography 3 weeks ago. And there's no effing way on earth or in hell this movie's coming out a year from now. I mean, if this was if Five Nights at Freddy's, sure. But not Doomsday. There's no way an MCU movie's coming out a year after it starts principal photography. Does it still come out Christmas next year? What do you think?
I think kind of going off of what we were talking about earlier is no, I think you're right, but I'm not so sure it moves that far. That's why I was asking. I think it moves into a summer slot.
Well, that's what I was saying. That's
27, and then maybe the second
May
part
of
is
27. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. Now that I'm looking at all this, because I was kind of confused at when it was landing now, because they've changed it so many times.
Every Avengers movie has come out in May. They've always put it out either at or pre-Memorial Day. Like usually Marvel movies they love to hit those Avengers movies in the early May slot. Like basically the same slot that they released Thunderbolts in, right? Mm-hmm. That's where it's at. So they've never put one out. They have never, ever, ever put out, even I think, to my knowledge, a Marvel movie on the Christmas frame. Ever. Because they've always had like a Disney family movie for that. They've always had a Mufasa. Or they've had a Lion King, that is Mufasa, or they've had, whatever, like a Disney.
Well, Star Wars was initially what they were going to do. Star Wars and
right, Star Wars
Avatar, they were going to bounce off each one. Yeah,
but that isn't happening because
that clearly isn't happening. So they've been trying and struggling to try and find something. They still have the
Mando
here.
movie coming out in summer of next year. And some people said, well, that's why they pushed off Avengers Doomsday, because it was going to go up against. I'm like, no, I don't think that had anything to do with it.
No, I think
I don't
you're
think
right.
that had any. Those movies are going to be like 2 months apart. Like Avengers was going to come out in the early May slot, the Thunderbolt slot, first Friday in May, and then the Mando and Grogu movie wasn't going to hit till July. So I'm like, there was no discrepancy there. But the fact is that now, Tom, it looks like. And this is what's really terrifying, is that not only is the Doomsday movie going to get delayed as we all thought it would, but that there's now going to be, if we believe that Avengers Doomsday actually hits its new mark and comes out Christmas of 26, which would be unprecedented for any Marvel movie to come out on the Christmas frame. Because that means Disney is going to have to remove from the release schedule a Disney animated feature, which has almost always come out during the Christmas frame. Disney has always had a Christmas release somewhere, like a family Christmas release, unless they were giving way to Sony releasing a Spider-Man picture, which they did in 21. Right? That means Disney's going to have to move something else. But I think Disney is going to have to move Avengers Doomsday back to May of 27, given that. That's my prediction. I just, what is the thought? You're going to have a gap from Fantastic Four, which I think is going to be a dud. I think Fantastic Four is going to be a dud for a Marvel movie. It might actually turn in maybe $500 million, maybe $600 million, because it's giving it some deference because it's summer. There's going to be like an 18-month gap, Tom, as of right now. An 18-month gap between Marvel movies, between Fantastic Four and Doomsday.
At least, yeah.
12 months was already insane. 12 months was unprecedented. Now it's 18, and I think it might actually wind up being 24.
And I think you have Wonder Man coming out for Disney Plus in between there, but that's about it, I think.
Disney Plus don't count. That's not
right.
Release.
No, I hear you.
Oh, and again, wait, I'm sorry. Ironheart is going to save it all.
No, well, that comes out, I think, before
that comes out like in a week?
Yeah, that comes out in like a week, the first
that
part of it
comes out, okay, that comes out actually, yeah. Ironheart comes out June 23rd because Disney deliberately straddled the release. Oh, that's right.
They pushed it to the end, of the month.
They deliberately straddled the release because of the disaster that what I've heard from mutual friends of ours.
The new Spider-Man movie is coming out. You got to acknowledge that. And then that is technically still being made by Marvel.
And that
even though it's distributed by Sony.
Well, here's my point, Tom. I think you're right. I think Valiant Renegade predicts. I think that Sony Spider-Man movie, that's what's going to come out Christmas of 26, not Doomsday.
What is it scheduled for now?
I don't think it has an official schedule, or at least not locked in stone. I think there may be a tentative date, but you know how...
No, it's got July 31st, 2026, and it's already shooting. So I think it's going to hit that date. And that was the thing, is in that announcement, there was no real inkling that Spider-Man was going to get delayed. But what that told me was that that movie has very little to nothing to do with the Avengers.
Exactly. I totally agree. That's my point. I think you're spot on. Here's what I'm thinking, Tom. I think that Sony and Marvel are going to have a conversation, or Sony and Disney are going to have a conversation. I don't think Doomsday is going to happen in the Christmas frame. Honestly, if I'm Disney, I don't know if I'd want to do that because that's an untested water for them. They may stick to it, but I would not, I guess my point is, I want to get your thoughts on this. I would not be at all surprised if Sony decided they wanted to push Spider-Man back to the Christmas release because Disney apparently is not going to have anything there unless Doomsday comes out, which I don't think it will, and then push Doomsday back to May, have Sony fill in the Christmas slot, because here's the thing. Spider-Man kind of doesn't matter when it comes out. We saw what happened with the last one, nearly $2 billion. I'm sure.
And that was January, I think it was, but yeah.
Yeah, well, it came out Christmas weekend.
Was it Christmas weekend?
Yeah, it came out.
You might be right. I mean, I wouldn't say they
weekend.
wouldn't. We'll have to see if they turn around and say, oh, there's this and that, and it needs to be done, maybe some reshoots or something that happens for Spider-Man, and then all of a sudden, then yeah, it might get moved, yeah.
I could see that. I could also make just as strong an argument for potentially the movie Spider-Man to be left in its summer frame because it's summer, and that if it's ready by then great. And then Sony, again, Spider-Man, I think you would agree, is pretty much immune to release schedule because it's Spider-Man. I mean, it's the only thing left that is a guaranteed, money machine for these studios. And I think that's a big part of it. Make sure you're subscribed to Valiant Renegade and join us every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern for the live show.